Hello, so today I'm coming at this from a slightly different angle. That the film I'll be talking about, Enys Men, is a truly organic film. Organic, from its themes to its setting to the filmmaking process itself. And you might not associate organic with film, but I think it'd be worth drawing these parallels. The film is an experimental and very expressionistic folk horror. So it's set on an island off the coast of Cornwall, Enys Men literally meaning stone island. And the film is based around a volunteer played by Mary Woodvine, who has a daily ritual, who walks around this stone island, takes readings of this strange outcrop of flowers. She goes to a mine shaft, throws a stone down and lets it fall and hears the sound of it falling. So the film is about grief, memory and isolation, but not in some sort of distant thematic kind of way. These themes literally bleed into the film, and it's so transfixing and haunting the way it does this. And it reminds me of the stone tapes theory, where emotions and trauma embed themselves on the stone walls of a house. But in this case, it's not the stone walls of the house, it's within the celluloid itself. So the film looks like it's literally been excavated from the 70s, has a very retro aesthetic. It's shot on 16mm film, it's shot on an old-fashioned 1:3:3:1 aspect ratio. It's purposefully often underexposed and extremely grainy. Mark Jenkin says with this film, you have to feel it instead of watch it. And a lot of that comes through literally on the texture of the film, where the analog process and the graininess literally becomes an element of the cinematography. Enys Men is the ultimate organic film. Just got to say, we'd love you to subscribe. We like to come to films from kind of different angles, as we can see today. Not just about the mechanics, but also the philosophy, the history, where film is going, what we like and what we don't like. We do scrutinize to the maximum extent. That's kind of our trademark. So please like, subscribe, comment. We want to build a community. So thank you for joining us. So the film Enys Men is ensconced in the natural world. It's embedded within this eerie, remote landscape. And Cornwall itself has this kind of historically nefarious feeling, with Jamaica in a Bodmin Moor, very disconnected from the main kind of veins of the country. And the film's landscapes almost take on their own character, sort of like in kind of Aguirre, The Wrath of God, the opening scene, where these Peruvian mountains kind of just come out of the mist and sort of introduce us to the wilderness and the brutality of nature. And the lichen that she studies, we were kind of arguing about whether this was real or not. It kind of looks like fake plants. And then this lichen kind of reveals itself as like an illness and grows on her skin. So nature's kind of inescapable, but in fact, nature is her. She is as robust, but also as fragile as nature. We see macro shots of moss blowing in the wind and this lichen on her skin, and the shots of this barrel distortion at the edge of the lens, almost like a snow globe look. And this broken transistor radio, which permeates the soundscape, almost sounds like the voice is fighting against nature itself, kind of coming in and out of the white noise and the wind. So the director Mark Jenkin ditched digital filmmaking for his previous film Bait. For this film, he's such a hands-on filmmaker, almost to a sort of ridiculous DIY extent. So he uses an old Bolex H16 clockwork camera, which is completely manual, no electricity involved. And he develops the film literally with coffee in his studio. And he says you can alternatively use sort of dried grass or urine to develop the film. So you can see where the organic bit comes from. And he only has 27 seconds to make each shot, so very limited time. He also runs the shutter physically with his hand, so he can either pull focus or actually move the camera. And these limitations actually free him up kind of creatively to do other things. He likes working within these limitations. So what's great about analog is just the infinite combinations and inflections of light that leave their imprint on the celluloid. Ultimately, film can't just be broken down into a grid of pixels like digital is. It looks good, but it also makes you feel closer to where the imprint was captured, the physicality of that chemical reaction on the celluloid. And what's more, director Mark Jenkin does the Foley sound whilst he's slicing together the film itself. He's actually got a floorboard and a mic set up so he can record the steps of the characters walking. And if he can't reproduce the sound accurately, he'll just use sort of an abstract sound, like a glass shattering instead. So Enys Men is a truly organic film. Obviously it's not organic to the extent I'm watching it like a theatre. And I think it's important to talk about this because a lot of filmmakers work solely within this digitalized workflow, and the process itself is largely facilitated and kind of directed by coders in big software giants like Adobe, in California, or ones in Sony in Japan, rather than where the content is actually captured itself. And honestly, I think most of the filmmaking being digitized removes us from that imprint that happens with analog. And there's also an artistry within using these analog processes, like using grain, which often digital creators try and slap on afterwards in a kind of artificial way with filters and plugins and everything. The texture of lighting and landscapes and people's faces and colours, particularly the red of the subject in Enys Men, and also that analog red, which is so beautiful in analog films through history, like Schindler's List or Don't Look Now. So that's that for the day. The topic has been at least semi-scrutinised. We will be back later in the week for a podcast, so please stay tuned. And yeah, we'd appreciate if you could subscribe, like and comment below. Have a good day. So to carry on this psychedelic folk horror theme, why don't you check out my analysis of The Wicker Man?